This is
Coming to you from the heart of the Pacific, brought to you by Paulie by Design.
respect.
Well, what happened?
You have to sing the intro, Naki.
No. I'm like,
Well,
what happened? What happened?
we are here for, I'm not sure what season, what episode. I'm in Arizona. Naki's in Fairfield, California. We are
Season
we're
6.
all over the map show today. We're talking about an event, a community event that just happened, and we're going to talk a little bit about awareness, all those things that we always talk about. I don't know. We'll do a few check-ins. I went to Tombstone, Arizona. I did the tourist thing, got the hat, and I'm still in Arizona. So that's the show today. Naki, do you want to introduce our two special guests?
Yeah. So we are, I don't know if we're not celebrating, but we are celebrating awareness for cancer. October is Cancer Awareness Month. And so we have these two amazing community leaders. First, we have Sylvia Mammasyl, Selinger Tauala, is the boss lady at Faika, which is a nonprofit organization that is connected to Pacifica Urban Roots, but they focus on youth in the community through sports, mentorship, just everything in the community. You will see Mammasyl and her partner in crime, Brother June there. Thank you, Mammasyl, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And then we have Christine Mauia, who is also the boss lady at the nonprofit organization, along with her board of directors and all the guys there, all my usos. They work towards empowering, inspiring, restoring our communities while strengthening cultural identity and empowering our youth. They also are part of the famous collaborative Pacifica Urban Roots. Mammasyl is a cancer survivor, and our sister Cree is a cancer caretaker. And now she's taking on the mission to let you know, to chase you down, hunt you down, to go get tested and give you all the good information. So welcome for joining us this evening on the last Thursday of Cancer Awareness Month. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we usually do our check-ins. We're going to have Carl check in first because he's the furthest away, and then we'll just hop on to the ladies.
Well, I will say I'm the only one that's not in charge because Naki's the boss lady in charge at PBD, our executive director. So it's an honor to be here with the three ladies in charge of their organization. That's always beautiful to see our ladies leading us in our community representation and the organization. So good to be here with you three. I am in Arizona right now. I came out with my family to hang out. We went to Tombstone, Arizona yesterday and did the complete tourist thing. Did the whole, it was the 141st anniversary of the shootout at the OK Corral. So we went to the spot and saw them reenact the whole thing. And it was kind of fun because my kids they're not historians. I mean, I love all kinds of history. So that to me, like, I love that. But, everybody's seen the movie, right? Everybody's seen Tombstone and Doc Holliday and, I'm Your Huckleberry, all that kind of stuff. So even though they weren't, big historian buffs, history buffs, they still had a good time. Not nearly as hot as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be like, Arizona, Tombstone, Arizona. I thought it was going to be 150 degrees. It was like 75, 80 degrees, light breeze. I mean, it was just perfect.
Nice.
Always good to, hang out with the family and eat too much, spend too much money, all those good things that we do. I mean, that's what you're going to spend money on, right? If you're going to spend money on things, spend money on vacations and good times with the family. Yeah. So, that's my week. I'm on vacation Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'll tell you, Naki, you're a remote worker. Officing from home, but not actually in your home, that's that's a little different because I know you have your setup in your office. I have my setup in my office at home. I have everything where I need it, and having a noisy house and not having everything set up the way that you want was an adventure. But man, my in-laws have done a fantastic job of giving me the office and a space to be. And it's also nice just because at the end of the work shift on Monday and Tuesday, I was able to go hang out with the family. So that's my week. And we head back tomorrow. So everybody's going to be back tomorrow. We're still looking for a home for Luna, our our dog. So we did find some no-kill shelters. So even if we don't find a home for her, she's going to end up in a place where we don't have to worry about her getting put down. So
Nice.
that's me, Naki. How about you? How's your week?
Oopsie. Good. I wanted to check in with Mammasyl, who was working her butt off yesterday and today while me and Cree were messing around yesterday. How was your week, sister?
It was good. It was good. Start off working. This past weekend we had a couple of celebrations, which is good. We kind of needed that just to get together, celebrate a birthday party. Had a little first birthday for my grandson, and then we had a baptism on Sunday. So it was nice spending time with family. And then I got to hang out with Cree on what day? Just Tuesday. We went to the to Laverne's award.
I seen that. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, she was firefighter of the year,
Yep.
2021. And so they weren't able to celebrate, I guess, during 2021 because of COVID. So they did a combination. So it was really nice to be part of that and to sit
Yeah.
at her table and support her. And I said, oh, we're going to latch on to this because
Yeah.
that, that's a powerful thing,
Yeah.
So that was really nice. And then, hanging out with Cree yesterday, having our little sister talks yesterday was really nice. And then surprise, let's go on Faika. Like, yeah, let's do it.
Yes. I love that they celebrated Laverne, even though, she got the award in 2021 during the pandemic. They took the time to celebrate her. A Pacific
Yeah.
Islander firewoman. I
Right. Right.
love that. So awesome.
Yes, it was.
How about you, sister? How was your week?
Oh, it was good. Had, like Sylvia said, a couple of celebrations this past weekend, and then pretty much the same thing. We went and celebrated Laverne. Was up at SEDC yesterday. So that was pretty awesome to be there with the young folks and be a part of that. And then I'm a part of a grief support at SEDC, so that's kind of cool. It's the second week into it. So that was cool, and it's a support group, and I'm happy to be a part of that as well. But yeah, other than that, just running errands and trying to get things together. My home office is a mess. I'm trying to reconfigure things, and I have it back the way I started. So I'm just trying to get everything organized back. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
that's pretty much my week.
I love it. I love it. I want to hear more about the grief support in a little bit because I'm sure it ties into what we're going to talk about in a little bit. I too, with you, we were at Whanonga Alumanga at SEDC, which was put on by Lexi Sailua and the
Yes.
SEDC crew, where they had community leaders come in and talk to young adults about nonprofit organizations, community-based organizations, and they had games and food, of course. We're gonna be there with the food, but it was really good. One of the things I took away from that event was the kids, the young
Yeah.
adults. They had to walk around and ask us, what's our name? It was a bingo thing. They were trying to fill their cards. So they would walk around and ask, they went to each adult or, community-based leader and ask them questions. It's a lot for them to even get up and introduce themselves because a couple of them had a hard time, they were really shy. And Alina,
Yeah.
who's with Oakland Pacific Islander Network, her and her team were there, and she was like, tell them your name, who you with, where some of the kids got up, gave their name, their pronouns and why they're there, but she had to really like coach them. So it takes a lot for like teenagers to get up and speak in front of people they don't know. So I was really proud of them, but I love that event. I've been crazy busy. And me and Cree were talking about this yesterday, how crazy busy we are with work and then trying to hit all the community events because we really want to support one another. It's so important to see our faces at things,
Right.
And so Mo, who was my driver, we were talking about this earlier. Mo drove me to the event. Mo is my husband. He drove me to the event, and me and Cree had our own group with kids. So it was two of us and a group of kids, and they had quotes, and they asked the kids, what is your favorite quote out of this list of quotes and why? And then afterwards, the community leader will give, what is your favorite quote and why? And so a couple of the kids spoke about why they chose what they did. And then Lexi's like, okay, Cree, Naki, do you want to go first? Why did Mo stand up and go, so the quotes that I really like, there's two, but then I have one. And I was like, sure. I was like, who's talking to you? Nobody is talking to you.
Love you, Mo. Love you, Mo.
He was like, I got it.
Yeah. He's like, I got it. He was like coloring, doing all the exercises with the kids. I was like, okay.
Good for you, Mose. Good for you.
He was like, tired of just being a driver.
Right. And a photographer. He goes, I'm tired of going to events and just taking pictures of you, Cree, and Mammasyl.
Right.
So yeah, we had a good time yesterday. It was a fun time. I love the kids there. And then we got swag. So I love free stuff. And they fed us. So wherever food is, I'm happy. But that's like our events, right? We celebrate with food.
Mm-hmm.
How exciting to hear that they got the kids up. I mean, it's already hard enough to talk in front of a group, right? Like just public speaking is one of the number one fears. I think I remember they did a survey of what's the biggest fears, and death was number 2. Speaking in front of, public speaking was actually number 1. But, for kids to get up, the youth to get up and not just speak in front of, people they don't know or they're not really familiar with, but people that are in their community and elders and those, people older than them, a different generation, like, those are tools that'll go a long ways in life when you get, confident enough to, go ahead and overcome that. And I'm sure some of them had to be prodded and pushed a little bit to do it. But that sounds like it was a really powerful event, and good to hear from the young ones.
Yeah, it was really good. So it was a great event. I loved it. There's, we went to friends. I don't know if I talked about this, but Pacifica Urban Roots had a outing, right?
Yeah.
I think we went to the Friends experience in the city. So we got to connect and bond with Brother June because Mammasyl had to work. And so we took Brother June. I mean, we were with Brother June, but it was a really good, what do you call it? Team building.
Yeah, it was team building.
Team bonding. Yeah, he had a great time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, be quiet.
He was rubbing it in.
You guys want to go eat after? He's like, oh, I brought you a cup.
Okay. I was like, what? Are you taking food home? Because Cree eats like a bird, so she ordered a big old plate, and everybody was sharing pretty much. So it was good food, good event. So it was a really good event. So
yes,
yeah, that was everything that I think has been going on. I mean, there's so much more and I love that, the events that have been going on in the city that we have been showing, like I've been seeing you know what I mean? I've been seeing everyone there, and it feels like old times, like connecting. I love seeing everyone at the events. And then, Mo's always taking pictures. So he's complaining about that. He says he needs to get paid by Amu and PB.
He already knows his role when he pulls up.
Okay,
like, where do I take a picture?
You just stay over there. We'll call you when we're ready. But yeah, that was yesterday, and just It felt so. I had a stressful. Real quick, like I'm all. Oh, that's it. No, here we go. So I had a stressful weekend. Me and Cree were talking about like we're so crazy busy. My plate is full. I was this close to canceling because I was so stressed out, but I didn't want to do that to Lexi. You know what I mean? I'm like, I already committed. I just got to get in the car and go. And I'm so glad that I did because those kids really made my day. Really made my day, and really like cleaned all the stress off of my plate. So
Yeah, they did.
I love our community. I love our community. So yeah, that was it. That was it. So every year in October, we recognize, we celebrate our family, we celebrate the people that are still here, and then we try to help one another by saying, hey, did you go get tested? It's Cancer Awareness Month, and so I just wanted each of us just to share our story, because it's not just, we always say when someone has cancer, the whole family has cancer. And we know that, Brother June wouldn't let Mammasyl go nowhere for a while, which I don't blame him. He's trying to hold on to his sweetheart and not let her go anywhere. But I don't know where to start. Where should we start? Mammasyl, you want to start with your story and how you found the cancer, just everything.
Sure. So it was August 2018, and we actually had just buried JT. Like we had just did his burial, and I was being tested during the process of us doing the AMU barbecue. And I believe that was also during the time where, we were kind of faced with the tragedy of what was going on with Jungle.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was still here. So that Friday, right before the AMU of 2018, I went to get a biopsy because we moved to Antioch. My grandson, my bed was on the floor. My grandson jumped on me, and when he got off, he pushed down on my chest, and I felt something. So then I went to the doctor that Friday, and they were like, yeah, there's something there. So they scheduled me for the following Monday to go in to do the biopsy, and the biopsy came back positive. I had 3 lumps found in my left breast that were positive for cancer, and it had traveled to the second lymph node. So then it was scheduled surgeries, and it just was kind of like this really quick. Within 3 weeks, I was, scheduled for surgery, out of work for a year. They gave me I did 2 surgeries because the first surgery, they didn't get it all. They realized that when they cut the good and the bad on the same line. So they know that the bad now has touched the good and that there's still more cancer. So then we went with the mastectomy for the left side. So we ended up with 2 surgeries and then 6 rounds of chemo, 3 months of radiation. And so that one right there, Christine, there were things that was happening to me that I didn't know who to call. Right. I'm the first in my family. I'm actually the only one in my family in my immediate family and my mom's siblings, my dad's siblings. No one has had cancer. Everyone has passed away from heart attacks. So at the drop of a hat, I'd call Christine and say, I got this really weird taste in my mouth, and she'd know exactly what I was talking about. Or I had these spots on my feet and I didn't know what they were. So, she kind of was like my other nurse. I'd call her, and she, she really helped me through this time. And I don't think she knows that. But like I so depended on her for just every and anything, if I needed something, and the fact that, she had gone through this, and I hate that she had to go through that with JT. Her experience, dealing with him really helped me. So I've been cancer free. It's been 4 years. I'm going on year 5, 2023. And, so far everything's been coming back good. And yes, Junior wouldn't let me out of his sight. He wouldn't let me leave. And Cree just was like, you need to get out of the house and let's go to the movies. I mean, we ended up at the movies, and then we ended up in San Francisco at dinners, and just like it was just so nice. And remember we went to Seattle. I was like, he was like, "You can't go all the way to see who's gonna," and I'm like, "It's okay." Like I got Chris, I got Cree there, I got Naki, Carl, like Neil. He's like, "Oh, okay. So thank you, because you guys are the first ones that he let me like leave the house and go on a sleepover to go hang out. But yeah, so far, nothing has come back. My daughter now has to get tested every year because she's my child, and because I've had it. So and just, dealing with family members who have it. I have a cousin who's, in terminal right now in Utah, and we're planning a sister's trip out there to go and visit with her. So yeah, just staying prayed up. And it's hard when you're going through it. What you feel is you see everyone who loves you not knowing what to do. The space that they're in is just different, where you're, like, I can fight through this. I'm fine. I'll do this. I'll do the chemo. I'll do the radiation. I'll lose all my hair. That was like, and those are like my big identities. I don't know if you guys knew me before, but I have big, huge Dolly Parton babies.
Yeah.
And then my hair was like way down past my butt. And then so like lost the Dolly Partons, then lost the hair, and had a little bit of like, who am I? Because that's always been kind of like my identity and how I would describe myself. And so having to just be like, it's okay being just Mammasyl, and and just like, hey, I'm here, and just keep it moving. Yeah, but thank you.
Yeah.
I remember being in Seattle with you and thinking that really more for Cree that Junior must have just absolute faith in that you would be taken care of, because when I heard you were there, I was like, I'll believe it when I see her. Like I and without Junior, and then just that really spoke to me, that the relationship that you and Cree must have, and the rest of the community's there, but the love and belief that Junior must have for Cree, in that she's going to keep you safe and keep you right. That really struck me when we were up there. I was like, wow, she's out of the house, she's out of the state, and she's up here running around at Pike Place Market and doing these things. But yeah, there just had to be a lot of trust in Cree's ability to keep you safe. That was beautiful.
Yeah, I thought Junior was gonna change his number and her number any minute, because every time we leave, we're supposed to go down the street to get something, but we end up in San Francisco, Vallejo,
Fairfield, Sassoon. I remember you guys rolling up to my house. I was like, "Oh, hey, where are we going? Where are we going?"
That was totally unplanned too. Let's go find Monafo's new house.
Yeah. We did do that. That I'm so happy that it worked out for you and that you're still here. And but we're so happy that you're still here. We don't care about the Dolly Partons, girl.
Yeah, actually, I'm like, man, my back doesn't hurt anymore.
There you go. There you go.
You know what's really weird? I say this to Christine all the time. Like, God really puts you where he thinks you need to be at the time you need to be there. Because I was in Pacifica with my sisters, with Janet and Jackie and my mom. And I came to Antioch, and I have my dad who lives in Pittsburgh. I have my nephew in Oakley. But I had no one here in Antioch, like here. And I didn't look at the house. I was so tired of looking at houses and driving back and forth. I said, does it have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms? Just bid on it. Like, is there a roof? Is there a floor? Okay, bid on it.
Yeah.
Same exit as Christine. Like literally less than a 5-minute drive.
Oh, wow.
If I needed to, I could walk there if I needed to. But who knew that this is where God was going to put me, right here by her, so close to her. And we talk about this all the time. Like, she'll be on an airplane and she'll she's been on a plane where she wasn't supposed to be on that earlier plane. She was supposed to be on the later flight, but she decided at the last minute she's going to get on that earlier flight, and now she's sitting next to a lady who needs her to basically hold her hand the entire time and make her feel okay with being on that flight. Like, God definitely puts you around people and puts you in places that he knows you're going to be needed. And so, I just want to all glory to God, because he's definitely put people in my life who have saved me, literally saved me.
Right. So
Love you, Cree.
yes, sister, you want to talk about your honey bunny and everything that you've gone through?
Yeah, I'm already emotional.
Oh.
My husband was diagnosed in 2014, and it started. He just fainted one time at lunch. We were at a restaurant, and he sat down, and and he was, acting. He just kept getting up. I thought he was watching the basketball game that was on TV, and I was playing my iPad, a game. And then he came back and he put his head on my shoulder. He's like, "Babe, I don't feel good." And I'm like, I'm playing my game. I'm not paying attention to him. And I'm just playing the game. And then he put his head on my shoulder and he starts to roll his head. So when I looked at his head, he was bald headed. I looked at his head, he was sweating bullets, like somebody just poured water over his head. So I immediately knew something was wrong. So I made eye contact with the server and I said, "Call 911." And at that moment, he just fell out. So lucky thing he was sitting down, because at that time he was a big guy. And I just started crying, and I was like trying to, carry him and like lift him up, like, "Babe, get up." And I just was emotional. And there was a doctor sitting at our table and a nurse sitting at the table next to us. So they just took over this. It was Benihana's. So how you share tables. Yeah. And they took over the situation, was asking me all kind of questions. And they, he wasn't diabetic, nothing. He didn't have nothing like that. He was 40 years old. And so the ambulance came. They came really fast. They took him. He goes in the back, and I'm thinking like heart attack, something, everything bad. And I couldn't see him. They wouldn't let me back. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's bad. They need to let me back there. I'm at the emergency calling everybody. People are starting to make their way to the emergency. Long story short, I get back there, and he's looking fine. He's sitting there looking at me like nothing happened. And they're like, "Oh, he just needed something to eat. Maybe his numbers dropped, or, and he just needed something to eat." So I'm like, okay, but that's never happened before. So then my aunt, who I love, she's like our family doctor without the title. I was talking to her, and she said, "Christine, nobody just faints like that. He's a healthy man. Nobody faints like that. Make sure you get his checkup." And at that time, our family got checkups every year. We all did physicals. I was really nervous. My husband's mom's siblings are all diabetic, so I was really nervous about diabetes with him. So he went and got his checkup, and he was 40 years old. So they did a whole full labs and everything came back fine, except for his iron was a little bit low. I mean, it was just a tad bit. So the doctor wasn't worried. She said, "Well, since he's 40, we can do a colonoscopy, and we can also at the same time check endoscopy, where they go down your throat and check your stomach." And so we're like, "Okay, yep, do it. I'm like, "Do it, yep, do everything you got to do." And he's like, No. They're not going to do a colonoscopy on me." So it was an argument like for a full week, a full-on argument, because I wanted him to get checked. I was scared that he fainted. And then so he gets it done. And then the next week, the doctor calls, and they're like, "You have cancer." And I remember that phone call. We were moving back to Antioch. And he called me, and I answered the phone, and he put it on speaker. And he said, "Can you say that again?" And the doctor goes, "Christine." I said, "Yes." He said, "Your husband has cancer." And I was like, "What?" I was on the Bay Bridge. And I remember the day being so clear, like the sun shining. It was a beautiful day. And once the doctor said he has cancer, it was like a storm just dropped on me. And I was like, "Well, what does that mean? What does it mean?" Because I've heard cancer, but nobody in our family had cancer. Nobody in my husband's family, nobody in his immediate family that we know of had cancer. So the doctor was like, "We're going to do some tests. We're going to do this. We're going to do that." So that was a Thursday. So he had 11 appointments from that Thursday to the next Thursday. He started chemo that Friday.
Wow.
So 8 days later, he had to get off of work. They said, no, it's going to be aggressive chemo. He did 6 rounds of chemo. He did major surgery. They removed 80% of his stomach, and they thought they got everything. They were like, yep, he had stomach cancer. So they said it was stage 2 stomach cancer. They thought that they got everything out. They said he should be okay. Stomach cancer is curable when caught early, and it was caught early. They felt that it was caught early. And he did 3 rounds of chemo, major surgery, 3 rounds of chemo. So then from that point, our world was turned upside down. I just felt like I was in a dark place. Even though we had a huge support system, I'm so thankful to this day for everybody who came out, sent a message, just made dinner, maybe called my husband, whatever they did for our family. They might not know it, but it was needed, I'm sure, every time that something was done for our family, because I was just, I was scared. I didn't know what's going to happen. I don't want my husband to die. That was my biggest fear. I told my husband, just forget the house in Antioch. Let's just turn around, call the U-Haul back. Let's stay here in Daly City. You can get all your treatment here. And he said, no, we're going to go back to Antioch and get everything, situated in our house. So, and he was strong through that. He was traveling through his treatment. People didn't even think nothing was wrong with him. They didn't see all the hard times, when he came home from chemo and those hard weeks after the chemo and all that. But every time they would see JT, he was in good spirits. He was always encouraging others. He shared his journey on social media. And that would always get on my nerves. I'm like, gosh, these people don't need to know what we got going on over here. Can you turn that camera off? But I didn't realize it at the time. And I actually didn't realize it till after he passed, how many people that he touched by just sharing his story. How many people that he helped get through so many different things. And while I was being selfish and, not wanting him to share what we got going on over here, about his journey with cancer and everything, not realizing that it was getting people through hard times, not only major things like cancer, but just the storms that people were going through. And I've gotten so many calls. I mean, he would always be on the phone. He was a social butterfly. If you knew JT, he was on the phone talking to somebody. He was calling somebody up, encouraging somebody, checking on somebody. And afterwards, I got so many calls, even his phone. Till this day, we get messages. Hey, JT, just thinking about you, brother. I miss your phone calls, your encouragements, just different things that my daughter will randomly get because she kept his phone number. And, as a caregiver, it's hard. You're looking at your loved one. You don't want, you can't do nothing really. I can do little things, like relieve the stress, make sure the house is taken care of, the bills are taken care of, whatever. But those are not the things that as a caregiver you really want to do. You really just want to take the pain away. You really want to take the cancer away. You just don't want your loved one to be there hurting and watching them go through emotional things like losing their hair and, just different things that you go through that people have no idea unless you experience that, right? So I'm one too that I'm guilty. I didn't. I had no idea, what people went through when they went through something like this. Even though we've always been supportive of people pop up, when people were going through stuff and, just doing little things here and there to be a blessing, planting seeds. But a lot of the seeds that my husband planted when he was here, it showed when he passed away. So many people came out and showed love, monetary gifts, just different things that I'm thankful till this day. Because all that helped me and my kids get through that hard time. So yeah, that's kind of my story. It's not it's just, what we go through, and I just try to do the best that I can in helping others, that because I know that I was there, so I know that being a widow is not an easy task. For others, everyone who came to pay their last respects to my husband, the majority, including my kids. Everyone kind of goes back to their normal lives, right? But a widow, their whole world is turned upside down. That is their life, their spouse, So everything that we do, it's affected, just like coming home and getting into bed. Simple, minor thing, little things. I didn't even know where the storage keys were because I never go in the storage until my husband passed. So I would tell my kids, like, where's your dad's car keys? Where's the storage key? Where's, how do I change this light bulb? What do I got? Where's the ladder? Just little things I never had to think of because he always took care of all those things. So every time that I have to do something, we're grieving again and again and again, over and over in different ways, because it's like, gosh, he used to drive, we'll go do something and he would drive there. Or when we went to the movies, or just little things that people think, oh, well, he's been gone 4 years, get over it. But it's not that easy. I hear like, different things here and there with not only with my husband, but other people who are grieving. They're like, oh, they'll say things like, oh, he was sick, so they should have been prepared. What does that mean? How do you prepare for someone to die and you lose your other half? Things like that. So, and even like people, and I know you experience this too, Naki, with when you're diagnosed with cancer, and some people can't handle it. I don't know, like, and then they just kind of disconnect themselves from you because they can't handle it. And I get it now. I mean, to their defense, I get it, but at the same time, I kind of feel like that's so selfish. Like, this person is facing this, but you can't handle it. So it's a lot that I've learned through my husband's treatment. A lot of things I learned after he's been gone, and it's a long process. I don't think I'll ever stop grieving. I don't think anyone ever stops grieving, but you just kind of learn how to deal with life a different way.
Yeah. Thank you, sister. I think one of the things that grew out of this is like our very first Faika show was we had all my Usos come on. It was our very first show in 2017. And JT and Fafiti, it was the JT and Fafiti show because they were on and on. And Cree and, the rest of the teams sat on the side or were outside. And then then we had you guys on again, and JT literally sat away and made you get on the mic, and you really didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And you're really shy, and JT was like, you know what to say, and him and someone kept really pushing you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so proud of you are so, I don't know if you realize how strong you are, because you're sharing the story. You still are saving lives with the story that you tell of JT. And even when he's not here, when you repost his videos every so often, like, he's always, inspiring and talking through his illness. He was very ill towards, the end of his journey, and was still getting on, talking to people, going live and direct. He was live and direct, sharing his story, and still inspiring. But I think what he sees now, and I know that how proud he is of you. Like, you're everywhere. I think his spirit actually jumped into your body, because he would be everywhere, and you're at bingo, or you're and now you're at all the events. You're like one of the social people, like Mammasyl is social. And you used to be on the side, but now I see you and Mammasyl everywhere, just at every community group, trying to save everybody, save our youth. So I know he's so proud of you. And I appreciate you sharing your story. And when Carl and I also, we have our cancer journey too, and I always tell this story, and I tell it every year. When I got diagnosed with cancer, Cree and I discuss people that drop off the face of the earth, just because we say that they can't handle hearing the news of a loved one having cancer. And then I knew Cree and JT like in passing. I knew them in passing. But when I got diagnosed with cancer, like, they called me asked if I needed a ride to, my appointments. I need somebody to sit. People that I knew and loved for a long time that I thought would be there just never came to, and whatever reason they have now that I'm over it, but during the time I was so angry. But they called me, checked on me, Creed texted me, her and JT would check on me. We went to lunch a few times, which I really appreciate, because when you're someone who has cancer, people, when they talk to you, they just start crying, or, you end up consoling them, it's okay. I'll be okay. That shit. And I know we don't want to do that, right? We just want
Yeah.
to talk, have a normal conversation. So I really appreciate that you and JT would pick me up. We would go to lunch in the beginning, anything you need, what do you need? And then we would just talk about anything and everything. And for that hour or 2 hours that I was with you guys, even with Mammasyl, when we would go out to that was like the most peaceful time, that I didn't have to think about cancer, or that I didn't have to worry about my family, them worrying about us, you know what I mean? And I think, Mammasyl, when you have you're the mama. So who's going to I'm thinking, if I die, who's going to take care of my husband? Who's going to take care of my kids? And then he's worrying about you. I think, and we always say, when you have cancer, the whole family has cancer, but every little thing, a text message, a meal,
Yeah.
a phone call, it means so much. So I really, really appreciate both of you sharing your story, because people hear it and they're like, okay, we're not alone. This is not, it,
Yeah.
a text message means a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
And I don't
I
think
think the
people realize it. Like just the small things, like it doesn't have to be steak and lobster that you bring to the family.
Right.
I mean, it could be spaghetti and salad and rice or something, but it's just a small load that you're lifting off their shoulders, that they don't have to worry about cooking dinner.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like the smell affects people that are dealing with chemo, and it's I couldn't cook in the house. I couldn't even shower in our room because of the soap smell bothered my husband when he was in his active chemo.
Mm.
But yeah, just those little things, it makes a small difference. I mean, it makes a huge difference to the family, but something
Yeah.
that's so little to a family to do.
Yeah.
I think as the three, Mammasyl, Naki, and myself, were cancer survivors, and Cree was a cancer caretaker.
Mhm.
And I think that, Mammasyl talked about it, Naki has talked about it. I saw the same thing, as like, our loved ones struggle with it. They don't, some of them know exactly how to show up, and they get, positive feedback because they're showing up just the way that you need it. But you have such a big network of friends and family that some of them don't know how to show up. And I think that, you know, seeing my family struggle with that, and seeing what they're going through. Mammasyl, you talked about, like, look, I'll do the chemo, I'll do the radiation, like I'm gonna get through this. But you were seeing people that like, do I hug you? Do I send you food? Do I bring the food? Can I call you? Is texting, I don't want to smother you, all those things that I saw people struggle with, and I felt kind of bad in that sense of, like, I just want you to love me. I don't need, anything in particular. Um, it really gave me a much bigger appreciation that I would have never have thought of, is what Cree went through in supporting JT, and seeing, I'm sure Naki, you saw it from Mose, Mammasyl. I'm sure Junior, like locking you up in the house, and all that. How do I show up right? How do I love you? That's hard. That's hard for the people supporting, to be there the right way. And I listened to, I've heard Cree's story I don't know how many times, and every time it gets me right in the heart, because I can see how much, how do I show up? What do I do? How do I not be selfish in that, like, hey, put that damn camera down. I don't want people knowing our business, but it's good for you, so I'm happy for you. Like, all those kind of things, it would be so tough. And as I'm a cancer survivor. I don't know what it would feel like to be there, on holding, going to bed with someone every night, and somebody that's at the highs, and then to see people show up, JT put on the I wouldn't say he was putting on a happy face just to put on a happy face, but to your point, like he wanted to be in good spirits when people came to see him, so they didn't see the pieces of his life that you saw. And every time you tell the story, I get more and more respect for you, in your journey, the way that you showed up, and know that you're taking JT's flag, you picked it up, you're carrying it forward, you're changing lives, you're saving people, you're doing his name and his legacy a huge service, and we're all honored just to see what you do. And to not be the social person, right? And then I was talking to Naki, and I was like, look at Cree, being there at these events, and not just being there sitting in the audience. Like you're literally and figuratively on stage. You're the event. So very proud. I'm very proud of all three of you, but very proud from the standpoint of walking that extremely tough role of being the supporter and the caretaker. That's a cook sometimes, it's a therapist sometimes, that's a researcher another time, it's a driver another time. Like there's so many different roles that you played. And it's live and direct. That's what I remember. And 2018, when you guys came back on the show the second year down at FCC Free Radio on 7th Street in between Market and Mission, like in it, right? After the show, we were trying to put the t-shirts out and get things right on the tables outside of the studio, and he like stopped doing it, and he looked over and he goes, "You good? How you doing?" And I'm just trying to set the thing up or whatever, and I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, JT, I'm good." And he stopped and he put his hand on whatever I was doing to get me to stop doing it. He goes, "No, are you good? How are you?" And we just had, I don't know, a couple minutes of just talking, but it was him, "Hey, slow down. Just let's talk for a second and not, talk and my mind is on something else." And that's when he was he was in the battle, like he was in the trenches at that point. And he was concerned about me. He was concerned about how I was feeling and how I was doing. Great guy. So, from a supporter standpoint, I get when Mammasyl's like, "Look, I'll do the radiation, I'll do the chemo, and I'll do those things." Sometimes you just look at people that are trying to support and you go, I'll be good. Don't stress too much. But yeah, I appreciate all of the sharing. And Mammasyl said something about God always puts somebody there at the right time, at the right place. That was kind of Naki's journey of how she found it, how she found cancer. Wasn't planned, wasn't planned. And God's got a plan. Give us more than we can handle. And somebody said, I think it was Cree said, "Stay prayed up." And we definitely got to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how when you look back on things, it's like when you're going through it, you can't see the end, you can't see the light, you can't see the why or anything like that. But when you look back on things, you're like, "Gosh, how did I do that?" Or how did I make it through? Or so it is amazing. It's been a long journey since my husband has passed, and even during his whole time. So now with his passing, I just try to help people the best way that I can and do as much that I can. And like you said, he would always go to everything and represent us. And if I did go, I'll just be in the background, like, "Okay, go ahead, babe, do your thing."
Yeah.
Because he was such a good talker, and he loved on everybody and everybody loved on him. But they're like, "Oh, your wife's here." Because I was just more firm one, more sassy, like, that's not going to work over here.
No.
But yeah,
I remember that second show when you came in. At one point, you stopped and just looked at him, like, "Get up and come over here and talk on the mic." And he refused to get up. He was like, "No, I'm not. You got this. You got this." And it was a awkward moment of silence until Cree was like, "Get your over here and help and do this." And JT was like, "No, you got this. You got it." And you did.
we made so much fun of him and Fiti when we left the first show. We're like, you guys didn't need anybody. You guys just took over the show. You guys didn't even give us a chance to talk.
The whole crew was there, and only those two spoke. I was like, hey, you want to pass the? Okay, you don't
right.
It was really good.
Man. Yeah, but it has been. I truly believe now that and I'm a little thankful too now that I'm able to, if I didn't go through that with my husband and experience that whole thing, I wouldn't have been able to help so many people. You know, I get calls, messages, not only of people dealing with cancer, but people just going through some things, right? And even like I got off the plane, I was one of my planes landed, and I get a call, so I answer it, but we're trying to get our luggage down, and I had a conversation with a lady. I never met her before. She was, I believe, from Seattle. And we talked for like an hour and a half. And she just wanted to, you know, she says she's watched videos of my husband and myself, and she's inspired, and she was going through something, and just things like that, you know, little things people don't see that I realized, like me being open with my husband's journey and just sharing, it helps people. So if something so little that I can do can help someone, I'm open to do that. So it has pushed me in front of the camera and the microphone. And I do remember, I'm like, oh, I get so nervous when the camera goes. I could talk like this all day, but once the camera goes live, I'm like, but I'm getting more better as we have shows.
Yeah, no, but now you're going live at events, and I'm like, oh, Cree's on, she's on. But yeah, I love it. I love that you and Mammasyl have been tag teaming everywhere.
Yeah. And this year too, with all my Usos, we visit families who are battling cancer in the month of October. And this year we were able to see 9 families. So that was a blessing. We were able to show up to 9 homes and just be a blessing, to bring support, bring hope, bring whatever people want to call it. But we just want to show up for people during a time where they can't see the light or the end of the tunnel or anything that's going to come out of this, or their families are not answering the phones, or friends who they thought were going to be there are not there. So we like to bring some kind of hope and just, you know, a friendly face to say, hey, we know what you're going through. We're the community. We're here to support in any way that we can. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love that you guys do that every year. And then you have coming up, you have your Halloween candy explosion.
Yep.
Which is happening this weekend. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yep. So we've partnered up with SF Safe. They've called on us to help them out. So it's a big event that we're going to be doing this Saturday at 903 Gilman Avenue in San Francisco. And it's a free event for the entire family. So kids are going to be able to come out and get candy. We're going to have a bunch of vendors out there, like Kiss My Boba, Panini's Mixes, all things dipped. Yeah. So there's going to be a bunch of vendors out there that families can just go up and order whatever they want without having to spend $1. We're going to have carnival games out there, jumpers, face painting, balloon twisting, music from Big Al, from Vallejo. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff lined up for the kids, to for the families, you know, more so because, you know, prices are going up. There's just so much going on in the world. They don't have to, you know, look in their pocketbook and looking at all the kids and like, gosh, they want to go to the pumpkin patch, but they can't because they can't afford it, or, you know, it's just too pricey, especially when you have multiple kids. Well, this event that's going to be this Saturday from 11 to 5, just bring the kids out. Don't worry about what's in the pocketbook. Everything is free. They'll be able to get pumpkins as well. There's going to be a pumpkin patch. Yeah, so it's going to be an awesome event, and food, everything. So you don't need nothing. You just need to show up with your chair and enjoy the day with the kids.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Then Mammasyl, you have lots going on too.
Yeah, this Sunday we're participating. Fatasi's participating in the with All In. They're having their annual bowling tournament. So there's a bunch of different nonprofits that are participating. I think Christine and I counted maybe 11 or 13 teams that are coming out.
Yeah, it's huge.
So all my Usos, SCDC, Fatasi. Yeah, there's just I know
DCYF.
DCYF
Yeah, there's
and
a few people.
Rudy's program. Yeah, so
Yep,
there's a bunch
United
of
Players.
there's a bunch of beautiful programs that are going to be out there, and it's at Hometown Bowl on Sunday from 2 to 8. So if you just want to come and hang out, or if you're looking to join a team, call me or Cree.
I'm coming to bowl with Cree. I'm coming to bowl with Cree.
Yeah.
All right.
One gutter, I get the other gutter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, and that should be a lot of fun. Just come and hang out. And then Fatasi has partnered up with the Rock program and with SCDC, and we're finally doing gym nights on Tuesdays at Big Viz, Visitation Valley Middle School, 1971 Visitation Avenue, San Francisco, and we're there from 5 to 7 every Tuesday. So come on out and get active. Yeah. And it's not just for the kids. If the parents want to come and they want to get active too, come on down. Yeah, and we're still working on a second night, but for now we have Tuesdays.
I love that the gym is open. Do you remember back in the day? And I don't want to age myself, but it used to be Wednesdays down at the. It was down off of Army and Potrero. I'm old. I'm calling it Army. Yes,
Potrero.
Yeah,
Army and Potrero.
They would have a basketball turn. All the guys would go. I know JT was there, and I think Junior, because Mo would go every Wednesday. And I thought that was such a great event because all the PI guys or kids or teenagers would just hang out there, and we didn't think about it, but we were actually keeping them out of trouble. You know what I mean? And they had tournaments every year. I remember Mo used to go every week, and he's like, he didn't miss. And so I love that you guys are bringing that back. And it's just, once the word spreads around the Bay Area, it'll just be bigger and bigger. And all the old guys will try to show up again and try to. Right. Don't let them do it, though, Mammasyl. Don't let them do it. Messed up me. So let the young folks do that. But I love that's happening. Thank you so much. I may pop in just to look for food like I always do. But yeah, is there anything that you want to let families know that are either going through cancer or that need support or have lost someone? We talked about this support group that's happening at SEDC. Anything that you want to give or shout outs or anything, Mammasyl, we'll start with you. Any words of advice, anything you want to give before we let you guys go and have your evening back?
So I've had so far I've had 2 ladies contact me because something happened to one and then something happened to another one's sister, and it was like the beginning stage. And so just if you're not sure, go and get checked. Just get checked. It doesn't hurt for you to get checked. It doesn't hurt for you to find out. It's actually comforting to find out. These 2 women, they call, they're crying, they're scared, and they found this. They went to the doctor, they got it checked out. It's completely nothing for both, completely nothing. So don't be scared to get your checkups. Please, you got to go and get your checkups. You got to go and find out if something's wrong, because the earlier they catch it, the better your chances of surviving it. And that's what we're working on, trying to survive this and trying to get fit and trying to eat better. And, so we're working on all of that. But, if you ever need anything, you ever need some information, if, you're not sure where to go, who to call, please reach out. Either one of us on this call, reach out. Yeah.
Thank you, Mammasyl. Cree?
Yeah. So I just want to encourage folks, like we've been encouraging folks, to go get your annual checkups, your physicals, do your complete lab work, your eyes check, your dental, because everything kind of is connected. I've heard people find out they were diabetic with their eye exams, just different things that we think that we're okay. We feel okay. We even feel aches and pains a lot of times, and we still don't want to go get checked up. We just feel a pain and we're like, oh no, that's nothing, And then 4 years later, now it's a full-on pain, and now it's something that the doctor can't help you with because, it blew up to something that it became worse. So I do encourage everyone to get your annual checkups. Do it around a time that you're going to remember. For example, your birthdays, maybe Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is a a big month that people are talking about different things. And a lot of times it's not going to be something major like, oh, the doctor's going to say you have cancer. It's going to be mild, minor things like make these adjustments with your food, your eating, cut the soda, cut the sweets, lose 20 pounds. It's going to be something minor. But when left alone, then it gets into bigger problems and more issues and different things like that. So I encourage everyone to get checked up. If you're going through something, I think mental health is huge now. It's always been, but I think now it's more and more talked about. So, reach out. There's all kind of people out here, these community leaders and organizations that are here to help in many ways. A lot of our culture doesn't come out. I don't know if it's just a cultural thing or the way we were raised or what, but we kind of tend to keep everything inside and we're just expected to be strong, wipe the tears, why are you crying kind of thing. But get help if you need it. I'd rather see people here and trying to work on their happiness than committing suicide and just different things or depressed in the house or, just different things. So I'm just here to be an encouragement and help with, whatever we can. And if we can't help you, we'll try to get you connected to someone who can. So thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Thank you so much to the both of you for sharing your story, because you may not ever hear from somebody, but you definitely are saving lives with every time you speak, every time you're at a community event and people see you there. So thank you for all the work that you both are doing.
Thank you.
Hello? Anything you want to get out before I let everybody go?
I agree. Get checked up. And part of it's having a routine, right? I mean, it's your teeth every 6 months. They check your blood pressure when you go to the doctor's office or the dentist. Get get used to going in and getting checked up, because if you wait until there's a bone sticking through the skin because you broke your leg, there's going to be things that they missed. There's going to be things that they could have caught early. NACI's a good example of that. Find things early and deal with them early so that they're not, in advanced stages. So all of that is a piece of the puzzle. To Christine's point, be doing regular checkups. Don't wait for something catastrophic to happen to go in, or you're not giving yourself the best chance to find things so they don't develop into other things. Bigger message. Thank you both, Mammasyl and Curry, for sharing your stories with us. It's you guys have we've all probably told our stories, a whole bunch of times, right? Well, every time you tell it, somebody's going to be touched. You're going to reach somebody. And it's emotional every time, right? It's not easy telling the same story. You tell it, you get emotional telling it, and after a while you'd be like, well, I don't want to tell it anymore because it's exhausting. But people need to hear it, right? People need to be inspired, and people need to know there's hope out there. So thank you, ladies, for showing up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll post all their flyers. Catch us bowling on Sunday at Hometown Bowling. Used to be Brentwood. We'll be in South City from 2 to 8 p.m. We'll also be at Gilman Park from 11 to 5 on Saturday. You'll see our faces. We're going to take a picture and post it just to irritate you. But thank you so much to both of you. You are definitely saving lives by sharing your story, sharing your journey. I love you, and we'll see you next time. Catch us next Thursday at 6 p.m. Come back to Faika with us.
Love you
Love y'all.
guys.